Ryan believed his biggest problem was simple. Life was not giving him enough, and it was taking too long to give it to him. He wanted money, success, comfort, recognition, and a better life. But Ryan wanted everything immediately. If he wanted something, he bought it. If he started a project, he expected results within days. When someone else succeeded first, jealousy filled his mind. His impatience began costing him more than he realized. He abandoned plans too quickly, spent money without thinking, and made decisions based on what felt good in the moment rather than what would matter later. One day, after another impulsive decision created a serious problem, Ryan finally lost his patience. "Why does everything take so long?" he asked. "Why can't I just have what I want now?" An older man named Mr. Elias had been listening. Instead of criticizing him, Elias calmly asked, "If you were given everything you wanted today, would you know how to keep it?" Ryan stared at him. He thought getting what he wanted was the hard part. He was about to discover that controlling yourself after getting what you want could be even harder. Ryan wasn't a bad person. He was ambitious, but he had one weakness. He wanted the reward before he was willing to endure the process. He dreamed of financial independence, better English, a successful career, and eventually a comfortable life for his family. But whenever he had money, he spent it instead of saving. When he needed to study, his phone suddenly became more interesting. When he started exercising, a few difficult days were enough to make him quit. And when a project failed to produce quick results, he abandoned it and chased another idea. "I'll start seriously tomorrow," he kept telling himself. But tomorrow became another tomorrow. Meanwhile, Ryan watched other people move forward and wondered why his own life remained stuck. Perhaps they were luckier. Perhaps they had better opportunities. Perhaps life simply favored them. One evening, after wasting money on something he didn't need and postponing something important yet again, Ryan complained to Elias. "I know what I want. I just don't understand why I can't get there." Elias looked at him quietly. "How often do you choose what feels good now, instead of what matters later?" Ryan became defensive. He believed self-control meant denying yourself happiness. Elias didn't argue. He simply said, "Then perhaps you've misunderstood what self-control is." Elias took Ryan to an old workshop at the edge of town. Inside were two doors. He pointed toward the first. "Behind this door is everything you can enjoy immediately: comfort, entertainment, pleasure, and rewards that require very little patience." Then he pointed toward the second. "Behind this one are books, tools, difficult work, and a path that may take years before you see its full reward." Ryan looked at both doors. "So you're saying I should always choose the difficult option?" Elias shook his head. "No, self-control doesn't mean refusing every pleasure. It means refusing to let every desire make your decisions." Ryan became quiet. Elias explained that desire itself was not the enemy. Everyone feels temptation. Everyone wants comfort, recognition, money, and immediate results. The important question is whether you can pause before obeying the feeling. "When you strongly want something," Elias said, "don't immediately ask, 'How can I get it?' First ask, 'What will this choice cost me later?'" Ryan thought about the money he had spent, the opportunities he had abandoned, and the hours he had lost. He finally saw the pattern. He hadn't been trading his ambition for laziness. He had been trading his future for the present. Elias gave him one challenge: practice one small act of self-control every day for 30 days. Ryan agreed, though he wondered whether something so simple could really change him. On the first day, Ryan discovered that self-control was much harder than it sounded. He was studying when his hand reached for his phone almost automatically. He stopped. Elias' question returned to his mind. "What will this choice cost me later?" Ryan placed the phone down. It was a tiny victory, but for once, He had chosen his future over a few seconds of entertainment. By the fifth day, another test appeared. Ryan received some money and immediately felt the familiar urge to spend it. He wanted something he didn't need. This time, he saved part of it. The amount was small, yet something inside him felt different. He discovered a strange satisfaction in realizing that a desire could appear without becoming an order. On the 10th day, Ryan studied English without waiting for motivation. He learned 5 words, read 1 page, and practiced speaking. The session wasn't impressive, but he finished it. By the 15th day, Ryan noticed how often he said yes to things that didn't matter. He began saying no, calmly and without guilt. Then came a setback. Disappointing news made his emotions rise. The old Ryan would have reacted immediately. This time he paused. Elias reminded him, self-control isn't controlling everything you feel. It's controlling what you do with what you feel. By day 30, Ryan wasn't perfect, but he trusted himself more. Then a temptation far greater than any before was waiting. Ryan had barely begun to believe in his new discipline when life presented him with the test he could not avoid. An unexpected opportunity appeared, promising fast money and a dramatic change in his circumstances. At first, it looked almost perfect. The reward was immediate and the effort seemed small. Ryan's imagination moved faster than his judgment. He pictured a better phone, better clothes, a nicer home, and the freedom he had wanted for years. Then the old voice returned. Take it now, you may never get another chance. For a moment, Ryan was ready to listen. But something was different now. Instead of acting immediately, he paused. He asked questions. He investigated the offer. He examined what could happen if things went wrong. The more he learned, the less attractive the opportunity became. Eventually, Ryan discovered the hidden risk. People who had rushed into the same deal had lost money. The temptation had been built around impatience, making people afraid that waiting meant losing their chance. Ryan walked away. Still, disappointment followed him. What if he had just missed the opportunity he needed? Weeks later, a legitimate opportunity appeared through someone Ryan had previously helped. It required patience and real work, but it offered something the first deal never could: stability. Ryan accepted it. He finally understood the difference between an opportunity and a temptation disguised as one. When he returned to Elias, Ryan said, "You weren't teaching me how to control my desires. You were teaching me how to stop my desires from controlling me." Elias smiled. Self-control isn't becoming someone who never wants anything. It's becoming someone who can want something deeply without destroying himself trying to get it immediately. Ryan had spent years trying to get more. Now he was becoming someone capable of handling more. Ryan returned to the same place where he had once complained about wanting everything immediately. He remembered believing his life would improve only when circumstances gave him what he wanted. Now he understood something different. Elias told him that self-control was never meant to be punishment. It wasn't about removing pleasure from life or forcing yourself to live without desire. It was about learning to choose deliberately instead of reacting automatically. Then Elias gave Ryan 3 distinctions he would remember for years. The first was impulse versus intention. An impulse says, "I want this now." Intention asks, "Will this help the person I want to become?" The second was comfort versus growth. Comfort wasn't bad. Everyone needs rest and enjoyment. But if comfort always wins, growth never gets a chance. The third was desire versus decision. Ryan could want something deeply without immediately acting on that desire. Wanting was a feeling. Choosing was a responsibility. For the first time, he saw how his identity had been shaped by tiny decisions. The phone he didn't pick up. The money he didn't waste. The difficult task he finished without feeling motivated. The angry message he decided not to send. None looked important, yet together they were changing him. Old Ryan believed, "I want it so I should have it." New Ryan could say, "I want it, but I can choose whether it deserves my action." Elias looked at him and offered one final warning. A person without self-control is easily controlled by anything that can create desire. Ryan became quiet. His enemy had never been desire itself. Wanting success wasn't wrong. Wanting comfort wasn't wrong. Wanting money, recognition, or happiness wasn't wrong. The danger was allowing every feeling to become a command. That was the lesson he had missed for so many years, until that moment. Self-control wasn't making his life smaller. It was protecting the life he was trying to build. Suddenly, Ryan understood why Elias had never told him to stop wanting more. He had only taught him to pause long enough to decide what more was actually worth pursuing. Ryan's story was never really about money, temptation, or one difficult decision. It was about something much closer to your everyday life. The thousands of tiny moments when you choose between what feels good now and what matters later. So ask yourself honestly, what do you keep telling yourself you want? Maybe you want better English, a better job, more money, a healthier body, a successful business, more confidence, or a stronger future. Now ask the harder question, what are you repeatedly choosing instead? Most people do not destroy their future with one enormous decision. They slowly trade it away through small impulses, one unnecessary purchase, one wasted hour, one more scroll, one abandoned goal, one angry reaction, one promise to start tomorrow. Each decision feels too small to matter, but small choices repeated long enough become a direction. Self-control begins by creating a pause between desire and action. When you strongly want something, don't immediately obey the feeling. Pause and ask, do I really need this? What will this cost me later? Will this move me toward my goal? Am I choosing this, or is the impulse choosing for me? That brief pause creates freedom. Real freedom begins with one deliberate choice, repeated. You may still feel temptation, but now you have space to decide. This ability grows through practice. Self-control is built through small acts of delayed gratification, repeated every day. If you're learning English, read one page before scrolling. Learn 5 words before entertainment. Listen for 10 minutes. Speak for 5 minutes. Finish one small lesson. If you're building a business, spend 25 focused minutes learning instead of consuming motivational content. The goal isn't perfection, it's practice. Pause, choose better, complete something meaningful, then repeat. Pause, right arrow, better choice, right arrow, completion, right arrow, confidence, right arrow, stronger self-control. But don't try to control everything. Self-control doesn't mean suppressing every emotion. You will still feel anger, jealousy, impatience, and the desire for comfort. The goal is to create space between feeling and response. You cannot always control what enters your mind, but you can practice controlling what you do next. For the next 7 days, try a simple challenge. Choose one behavior you want to control and identify your biggest trigger. When the urge appears, pause for 10 seconds. Ask what that choice will cost your future self. Then replace the impulse with one useful action. At night, record what you chose. After 7 days, don't ask, did I become perfect? Ask, did I become more aware? Awareness comes first. Notice the moment between desire and action, and you have a choice. Think about Ryan. He once believed freedom meant getting whatever he wanted. Later, he discovered something deeper. Sometimes freedom means being able to want something and still say no. Sometimes the strongest person isn't the person who gets everything immediately. It is the person who can wait for what truly matters. The money you don't waste today can become security tomorrow. The hour you don't waste today can become a valuable skill. The anger you control today can protect a relationship. The small discipline you practice today can become the character you rely on years from now. Your future is being shaped by what you repeatedly choose when nobody is watching. You don't need to control the entire world. Start by learning to control the next decision. What is one thing you will learn to say no to this week? Maybe it is another purchase, another hour of scrolling, another excuse, or another promise to begin tomorrow. Choose one. Then begin. You don't have to get everything now. Sometimes the greatest reward comes to the person who can wait, choose wisely, and become ready for what comes next.